How Studio Ghibli makes their movies. I'm sure you're all quite familiar with the 3-act structure, 7-point structure, or the hero's journey. These are all American styles of making movies. For example, the protagonist is introduced. They run face first into some sort of obstacle, and they spend most of the story overcoming that obstacle, until the inevitable fulfillment, where the character conquers the obstacle and lives a more meaningful life. This is a fine way to write a story, but it's not your only option. Today we're going to talk about an old Chinese secret called Kishotenketsu. Decades ago, when Japanese animation first started hitting the mainstream in America, audiences could already tell that Studio Ghibli stood out. There was something so unique, so different about the way it made movies. And it goes deeper than a vibe or a visual look. It's in the storytelling. My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, and Grave of the Fireflies were stories radically at odds with the Hollywood norms at the time, yet they've grown so influential in the years since. It's also clear that the talent at Ghibli is behind a lot of it, from Hayao Miyazaki to Isao Takahata and beyond. The studio has been a hub for some of the best filmmakers in the world, and you can't just boil them down to a formula. That said, there are a concrete difference between Ghibli stories and the standard American film scripts worth dissecting, and the first is something Ghibli stories share with many animes, a plot structure called Kishotenketsu. Kishotenketsu is a method of storytelling that dates to ancient times in Japan. The structure is composed of 4 parts: Ki, introduction; Sho, development; Ten, turn or twist; and Ketsu, conclusion. Introduction, Ki. The setup of the story. Just like the beginning of a 3-act story, here you want to introduce the characters, the settings, and any other information that's important to understanding of your story. Development, Sho. Take your setup and expand on it. Tease out the situation and flesh out the characters. You're giving the readers a broader or deeper view into the story, and the important thing to remember about this stage is that it is about expansion, but not major change. No changes occur during this development stage. Twist 10. This is the most important part of the story. A twist is an unexpected turn or development in your story. The twist in Kishotenketsu is like the climax of a Western story. It's what your entire story is building towards, and it will often recontextualize the previous events of the story. Conclusion, Ketsu. Here you're just wrapping up the story. It's important to note that in Kishotenketsu, your characters don't have to show growth, and sometimes barely any action has happened. Just show us the aftermath of the twist. Pretty much anyone who talks about storytelling will tell you that conflict is the most important part of your story, that without conflict, you don't have a story. Well, it turns out that's wrong. Western story structure may depend on conflict, but Kishotenketsu doesn't. Sure, you can have conflict, but it doesn't need it. But how do you conclude a story with no conflict? Well, in the Ketsu portion of the 4-act structure, you can return the characters to where they were before. The twist may create an unresolved tension in the place of a resolved conflict. This is what makes the story interesting to the reader. Truthfully, we don't need conflict or character growth to make a narrative interesting or worthy. This lack of resolution makes Kishotenketsu stories appealing in an important way that feel true to life. In life, we rarely get a clear and neat resolution to the conflicts that emerge in our own lives. Things can happen to us, positive or negative, that are completely out of our control. We just have to deal with them. Conclusions are inevitable. Everything eventually ends. We're not guaranteed any happy resolution. That's okay, we got these spirited away things. Things in our day-to-day lives don't necessarily have a good resolution, but that's how Kishotenketsu works, and that's what makes these stories so memorable. Now for the homework. Trust me, it's fun homework. I'm not like a high school teacher that says like, oh, this is fun homework and gives you like a whole page of multiplication questions. So take out a sheet of paper and make a 4-panel comic for each part of Kishotenketsu. As you can see in my examples, honestly, Studio Ghibli should hire me, but sometimes a conflict returns them to the same place, but with more tension, like one more rejection, or return to the exact same place, but with some more muscle. And remember guys, I really don't care if you like this video, but if you want, just send me a picture of your panels on Discord, and subscribe for more homework. Thank you.